Yes?
Sign here, please.
Aha.
Have a good one.
I wonder what this is.
What is it, Daddy?
It's really big, Daddy.
I bet it's a new bike.
No way, it's my new Blondie doll kitchen set.
It's not some stupid doll.
It's two.
It's not.
It's two.
All right, all right. You kids, settle down. What do you think it is, dear? It's so big.
I don't know. Guess there's only one way to find out. Let's open it up. Ah, piece of cake. Isn't she a beauty? Just look at her. We're gonna have such fun with this. Oh, look at this. Huh? What do you think? What do you think? We're gonna have such a good time with this thing. We're gonna have games. We're gonna do all sorts of things. Isn't it great?
With a basic understanding of how computers work and their components, the less you'll feel intimidated and the easier it will be for you to troubleshoot those agonizing problems. That's why we've made this video not only informative but entertaining. We've interviewed professionals and talked to people right off the street, people who may or may not know the first thing about personal computers, and used their questions to help develop this video. Before we go any further, have your PC in the room with you while you're watching this tape. Get your remote control for your VCR and put it next to your computer, because you're going to want to stop and experiment with some of the things we're going to talk about. So kick back, throw those confusing manuals aside, and enjoy. Learning computers can be fun.
Communications is an area that is expanding quite rapidly right now, and it would be really good to learn, or like to learn, a significant amount more about that.
Oh, I don't know, graphics perhaps, three-dimensional graphics, kind of interesting to me.
On the software side, what I'm most interested in would be software that works with things like Windows, OS2, and so on.
Before we begin talking about the various functions that your PC, personal computer, can perform, let's begin with a brief history of computers, a definition of its main parts, and discuss some basic computer terminology as well. The first electronic computer was constructed in 1946. It was called the ENIAC and had 18,000 vacuum tubes, like the ones in old radio and television sets. Weighing nearly 30 tons, it was an extremely large machine, about the size of 30 cars. Although it was so enormous, it was still only able to do basic math calculations, no more than today's pocket calculator. It wasn't until 1975 that the first home computer hit the market. And in 1981, the first personal computers were introduced. But today's PCs are much faster, have a larger capacity, and cost only a fraction of those made just a decade ago. A personal computer is a complete system that can perform many tasks concurrently at very high speeds. And best of all, it's small enough to fit right on your desk. Some of the programs your PC can do include word processing, which is creating texts and documents, spreadsheets, which do calculations and develop statistical models, databases, which store and retrieve information, desktop publishing, which is creating brochures and camera-ready copy with text and graphics, complex engineering drawings, communication with other computers, graphics, and accounting. You can even balance your checkbook or business account books, store telephone numbers, play games, display pictures, drawings, and much, much more. Personal computers are also used to perform larger tasks, such as running production lines and other business machinery. There seems to be some myth that computers are super intelligent, powerful, almost supernatural machines that think for themselves. But as of today, this is untrue. Although many companies today are studying artificial intelligence, there aren't any PCs that have it yet. A PC can only follow instructions given by the user, yet at a phenomenally high rate, 1 million or so instructions per second. Amazing, huh? That may be why a lot of people believe computers think for themselves. If you ask your computer to print 5 plus 3 equals 10, it will do so. Since it is not capable of thinking, it can't differentiate between true and false. It can, however, make larger calculations like figuring employee wages in a matter of seconds. Now, let's talk about some of the main parts of a computer, the hardware.
A monitor is basically equivalent to a TV set, except for it's hooked up to a computer. It allows you to see on-screen text as well as images, and allows you to understand basically the communication between you and a computer. A monitor? See this thing you look at?
A monitor, also known as a CRT, cathode ray tube, VDT, video display terminal, or VDU, video display unit, is an output device which enables a user to watch what is going on, to show a letter typed, the results of a calculation or graphics, or see in an organized manner information that is being processed inside the computer. It looks much like a television set. In fact, nowadays you can buy components that will allow you to actually watch TV right on your monitor. And sometime in the near future, we may see computers and televisions combined as one complete unit. We're moving into an age of interactive television. That's where viewers will have the ability to watch any program they want at their convenience. This will most likely eradicate primetime programming, since all that viewers will have to do then is pull up their favorite show on the screen and press play. No more programming that VCR. Pretty exciting, huh? And it will all be controlled by satellites and huge mother computers called mainframes. Now there are several kinds of monitors, but the main difference is between monochrome and color. Monochrome monitors are those that can only display images in one color, white, amber, green, or gray. And color monitors can display images in multiple colors. Color monitors can be much more pleasing to the eye, but cost more than monochrome. The better monitors today are the VGA and Super VGA. Both are capable of displaying brilliant, crystal clear photography and other images. The Super VGA has higher graphic and enhanced display capabilities. The reason for this is they have smaller dots on the screen called pixels, and more of them than any of the lower line monitors. Monitors can be interlaced or non-interlaced. If they are interlaced, graphic images are displayed from the top to the bottom, odd lines first and even lines immediately afterwards, while the faster non-interlaced monitors, by contrast, display lines one after another.
Input device, usually alphanumeric in nature, QWERTY design, which is a standardized arrangement for the keys.
A keyboard is an input device. In other words, the old standard saying about computers, garbage in, garbage out, nothing in, nothing out. You have to be able to tell the computer what you want it to do. The keyboard allows you to do that.
That's right, it's an input device arranged much like a typewriter, but with several extra keys so a user can type in information easily and efficiently. It is used to send information to the computer, and you can see on the monitor what is typed. What's this thing, you ask? It's about the size of my palm with a long cord extending all the way back to this thing, and it's got 2 buttons on top. Well, this is a mouse. They call it a mouse because it resembles a mouse. See how the base looks like the body and the cord looks like a long tail? A mouse is another input device which controls a pointer, like this one on the screen. You see the arrow? That's a pointer, and it's controlled by scooting your mouse around on a mouse pad. It allows the user more flexibility when making menu selections. It can be easier than typing it in because all a user has to do is move a mouse around on a mouse pad and the pointer moves along with it. Primarily, the left button is used more often than the right one. Some software packages make use of the right button as well. The way it works is there's a little ball inside. When you move the mouse in any particular direction, a ball moves along 2 rollers inside, one going left to right and the other going top to bottom. These rollers send a message to the computer so that it knows which way the pointer should travel.
CPU has come to mean two different connotations. Central Processing Unit is what it originally stands for. The CPU used to be the large box that contained all the interior works of your computer. That was the Central Processing Unit. As time went on and people got more used to computers and started looking inside that box, they found out that the CPU is the main chip or the brain of the unit, which does all the processing.
A CPU is a set of initials that stands for the Central Processing Unit. It's the main unit in a computer that allows it to do processing of numbers, etc.
What is it used for? Well, it does the main calculations and basically the work or the brains of the computer. It's the main thing, the computer thing.
This is the CPU, which stands for Central Processing Unit, sometimes known as the base or systems unit. All other components like the monitor, keyboard and mouse, printers, and other hardware are connected to and controlled by this unit. And inside the CPU is where all information either inputted or outputted is processed. Just a bunch of wires and electrical parts that don't mean a whole lot, right? Wrong. A CPU is the fundamental component which all parts must communicate through, so all calculations are done within the CPU. Whenever you set your system up, you can lie it either flat or on its side. It won't hurt your system if you do lie it on its side. This can save you some desk space too. Additional components can be inserted into expansion slots on the back of your CPU, such as modems, which allow your PC to send or retrieve data from another PC through telephone lines, game cards, which provide special sound effects for PC games, and other sound cards used for multimedia presentations, etc. To install a card, first make sure your system is powered off. Go ahead and unplug it just to be safe. Unscrew the cover, remove one of the dust plates, take your new card and line up the gold contacts with the sockets inside, and gently push the card into the socket. Don't force it in, these cards are fragile. Just work with it slowly until it fits snug. Then put the cover back on your CPU, plug in your system, power on, and follow the instructions for loading software. Okay, once again, first make sure your system is powered off. Go ahead and unplug it just to be safe. Unscrew the cover, remove one of the dust plates, take your new card and line up the gold contacts with the sockets inside, and gently push the card into the socket. Don't force it in, these cards are fragile. Just work with it slowly until it fits snug. Then put the cover back on your CPU, plug in your system, power on, and follow the instructions for loading software. Now, this thing, the computer chip, is the brain of your PC. The speed and versatility with which all computers run depends on what type of chip or processor it has. From slowest to fastest, there's the 286, the 386SX, the 386, the 486SX, the 486, and in 1993, the Pentium, which will be even faster than the 486. The 386, 486, and Pentium are specifically designed for multitasking, meaning a user could start working on a letter while the computer continues to calculate a statistical analysis, which might take several hours to complete.
ROM is read-only memory, RAM is random access memory. Random access memory is basically the memory that is used that people think of as a desktop. So if you have 4 megs of RAM, you have a very large amount of space on a desk that you can put things and work with. If you have more than that, basically you can do more at the same time. ROM is basically what's on a motherboard that is used by the processing unit itself to do its internal calculations.
ROM and RAM. ROM is read-only memory, and it's used to store programs usually by the factory in the computer. And RAM is the user memory that stands for random access memory. It's read and write memory that comes from different storage devices and such.
ROM, which stands for read-only memory, contains permanent information that your PC needs when it's first turned on. You can neither remove nor change its contents. And ROM remains even when your computer is shut off. However, RAM, which stands for Random Access Memory, contains non-permanent information. Data is stored in RAM temporarily while you're working with your PC. Text and numbers will remain in RAM until your PC is turned off. RAM, often known as memory or SIMs, is measured in bytes and kilobytes. A kilobyte equals 1024 bytes. A single character takes up 1 byte. Therefore, 1024 characters equals 1 kilobyte. So, if you were to write the sentence, "I love my new PC," that would take up 19 bytes of memory, including blanks and the exclamation point. Larger programs require more RAM, more memory, and you may run into problems if you try to run those programs without enough memory. Most PCs today come standard with 2 or more megabytes, 2 million bytes of RAM. But it doesn't hurt, and it is always better to have more. Many retail stores and direct computer sellers offer extra RAM that you may purchase to add onto your system. It is recommended to have at least 4 megabytes of RAM. They come on cards like these and fit into your system's memory expansion slots, which are inside your PC. When adding memory to your system, first remove the cover. Put on an anti-static wristband that you may purchase from any computer store. Then take your memory module and insert it into one of the memory expansion slots like so. RAM can come in different speeds and sizes, and sometimes has to be put into a specific order inside your machine. So it is wise to read the instructions inside your computer manual before you begin.
Floppy drives are removable media that allow you to take information with you. They come, for PC, they come in sizes of 5 1/4 and 3 1/2 inch, and they hold varying amounts from 360 kilobytes of information up to 1.44 meg. And again, they're in small sizes, so you can take them with you. Hard drives also were originally called fixed disks because they're mounted inside the computer and is memory that you cannot take with you. Usually they come anywhere from between 60 megabyte sizes all the way up to 1 gigabyte and many more times that.
Floppy and hard drives are storage devices for information. A floppy drive comes in 2 different sizes. Well, it comes in several different sizes, but a floppy drive primarily comes in 5 1/4 or 3 1/2 inch size. A lot of people mistake the 3 1/2 since it's in a plastic case for being a hard disk of some sort. It's not. Inside there is a mylar plastic disk inside both the different sizes, which is floppy, hence floppy disk. A hard disk is simply that. It is a hard disk in which information is electronically stored and retrieved, and it comes in a rather large casing which goes inside your computer.
Since all the text stored in RAM is lost once you turn off your PC, you must save that information in one of 2 ways. You save it either on a floppy disk or hard disk, and they are used in floppy or hard drives. There are 2 types of floppy drives, the 5 1/4 inch and the 3 1/2 inch. They are called floppies because the actual disk is floppy, even though the disk in the 3 1/2 inch is enclosed in a hard case. Floppy drives are used for external storage of information that can be stored on separate diskettes, which can later be loaded over and over again. This allows the user more flexibility to load whatever program he or she decides to, without permanently having it on their PC. Although this can be a very time-consuming process, assuming that programs fill up a lot of diskettes. It works like an audio cassette. A cassette stores and plays music as a disc stores and plays information. Information referred to as data can be in the form of a letter, a picture, or even a game. This data can be taken directly from the disks and displayed on your monitor. 5 1/4 inch drives come in 2 sizes. 360 kilobytes, which is considered low density, and high density 1.2 megabyte drives. The 3 1/2 inch drives come in 3 sizes. 720 kilobytes, which is considered low density, and 1.44 megabytes and 2.88 megabytes, which are considered high density. For either drive, you cannot use floppy diskettes that aren't the same size as that drive. It is advised to keep diskettes away from heat and sunlight, drinks, cigarette smoke, and magnetic sources. Don't bend them, and don't touch the exposed areas of a disk. This is a hard drive. Inside it is a hard disk where files are permanently stored. That doesn't mean a user can't move or erase those files. It just means he or she can access them more quickly than having to load several diskettes into a floppy drive. Now if one wants to use a file in someone else's PC, then he or she must then transfer it to floppy diskettes. Make note that these floppy disks won't work in another PC unless they have the same kind of floppy drive. If your PC uses a 1.44 megabyte drive and the other is only a 720 kilobyte drive, then they are not compatible and it won't work in their drive. Same goes with trying to put a 3.5 inch size diskette into a 5.25 inch size drive and vice versa. It doesn't work. Use only the exact size and storage capacity for that particular drive. Now the A drive is usually the first drive, the one on top or the one on the left. And the B drive is the one on the bottom, or the one to the right of the A drive. The C drive represents your hard drive. You can't see it because it is inside your CPU. When putting a floppy diskette into your floppy drive, always make sure the label is facing upward. And if you put a sticker label onto one of these 3.5 inch diskettes, don't cover up the sliding door. That door opens up when the diskette is inside your drive, and that is how your computer reads information off of it. If you want to write protect a disk, meaning you have a disk with very important information that you wouldn't want to have deleted, then use a pen to scoot this little shield to the write protect position. When the shield is open, then it is write protected. When it is closed, anyone can do anything with that information. On the 5.25 inch diskettes, just put a piece of tape over the indentation on the side and it becomes write protected. To visualize the amount of information that a floppy diskette can hold, a 1.44 megabyte diskette can store close to 800 typewritten pages. A hard disk, however, can store from 20 megabytes to several gigabytes, which is 1 billion bytes of information. Wow!
A CD-ROM is a disk or the reading device which allows mass storage of information that you can read from, but you cannot write information to it, or you cannot store information on it. So consequently, you have ROM, read-only memory, and that's it's simply the same size and configuration as a standard CD music disc.
Again, you get the ROM, which is read-only memory, and a CD-ROM is basically a CD player that allows you to both play CDs if you're not using it for information, or to access information that's been put on the ROM disk itself. It basically functions the same as sort of a read-only hard disk or a floppy disk that contains program information, music, games. It doesn't matter.
Yes, you can play music CDs on them, standard audio CDs, but they're in fact more. They contain the ability to access data that are stored on the CDs, which is a little bit different concept than playing back of the audio tracks. You can sort through several hundred megabytes of data, large volumes of information in a very short time period.
A CD-ROM uses compact disks like these with read-only memory files on them. So unlike floppies and hard disks, users can only view information off of these, but cannot manipulate that information, nor store any new information on them. Although you can't change the primitive images from the CDs, you can make alterations and save them onto your hard drive or floppies. CD-ROMs offer a plethora of opportunities. They are used today for multimedia presentations, providing music and visuals, as well as offering millions of vivid photographs that can be displayed right on your monitor or even a television set. Providing you have the right hardware and software, you can actually play CDs from your music collection too. Okay, let's review. This is a monitor. It allows you to see information typed in and information processed by the CPU. This is a keyboard. It looks and works like a typewriter to input information into the CPU. This is the CPU, the place where it all happens, the component which processes information and serves as the nerve center between all other parts. These are floppy drives. Remember, they use these floppy diskettes, depending on the size of your floppy drive, and store a small number of files for easy access. And this is a hard drive, where most files are kept, since it can store a substantial amount of information. A CD-ROM uses compact disks like these with read-only memory files on them. So unlike floppies and hard disks, users can only view information off of these but cannot manipulate that information, nor store any new information on them.
A printer is basically a device that allows you, obviously, to print out information, whether it's from word processing or graphics, any of a number of other areas. A dot matrix printer is a printer that employs a series of pins that very quickly rearrange themselves as they're going across the paper and print through a ribbon. The most common right now is a 24 pin or a 9 pin. The more pins, the higher quality of print. Laser printer is a method of printing that allows you, very similar to photocopying, but allows you a higher degree of resolution. Does not use pins, but literally takes and ionizes the ink to the paper, so it allows you, again, a higher quality of resolution.
A printer is another method in which you can get the results of a program or something that you're dealing with. Just as in a monitor that you visually look and see something on a screen and then you can change that screen to something else, a printer will allow you to print the results of a program so that you will have a permanent record of what you've done.
Yes, there are several types of printers. The most common and least expensive is the dot matrix printer. It's called dot matrix because the printing head has pins that create characters in a dot pattern by hammering the correct pins against a ribbon. There are many other types of printers including daisy wheel, inkjet, and laser. Laser printers are quickly becoming the most popular choice among consumers because of their sharp, crisp images. And since the starting price for some of these printers are now well under $1,000. All printers have an online feature. When the online light is on, then your printer is ready to print. Take it offline to make adjustments or change out the paper. Modems are a great commodity for any business or home user. They allow you to send and receive data from your computer to another via telephone lines. And with a modem, you open a door to thousands of shopping, entertainment, and financial opportunities. You can even get the latest news and information and tie into thousands of online bulletin boards around the world. A fax modem will allow you to send and receive faxes like a normal fax machine. And with these, you have the convenience of group faxing. This way, your computer can perform the laborious task of sending the same fax to many people. Fax modems also keep records of sent and received faxes and let you schedule faxes for later transmission without tying up a machine with pages. Several communication software packages are available on the market which help you utilize a modem or a fax modem to best fit your needs. There are two types of modems, internal and external. An internal modem fits into one of the expansion slots on the back of your PC. An external modem simply connects to one of the communication ports on the back of your PC. And they run at different BPS speeds, bits per second, the slowest being 1200 BPS all the way up to 14,400 BPS. A couple of points I should make about PCs in general. You shouldn't leave your computer on overnight or indefinitely. First of all, computers can use up a lot of energy if left on all the time. And second of all, just like any machine, you should allow your system to cool off. Take a break. Okay, how about DOS? You may have heard that word before, but we're never quite sure what it stood for.
Okay, it says here I need something called DOS. DOS. What the heck's that?
And Jordan hits the ball. He dribbles. He goes past the guard. He shoots. Oops.
You gotta look pretty, because you have a date with Bobby. You're gonna ride in his new car and eat at McDonald's and get ice cream at Baskin Robbins. I can see you hiding behind that desk. Blondie and Bobby sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N.
I'm trying to figure the computer out, and I really can't do it with all that racket. Listen, sweetheart, when I get finished, we'll be able to play games on it. Now, doesn't that sound like a lot of fun?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Here we are. DOS. Boss. Okay, what do I do with them?
DOS stands for Disk Operating System. DOS is a collection of programs that provide set commands designed to make it easier for you to access your floppy or hard disk. It is necessary to have some form of disk operating system in order to apply most of the basic functions of your PC. And the moment you turn on your system, DOS is loaded into your RAM memory. DOS commands can be used to read the contents of a disk, to copy or delete files, or to prepare or format a disk for use. Incidentally, all blank diskettes that you purchase have to be formatted before they can be used. We'll explain how to format disks later. To put it simply, DOS is a translator for your CPU. Programs on a floppy or hard disk first go through DOS so that it can translate to your CPU what tasks it should perform. If you haven't installed DOS, or if it wasn't automatically installed by the manufacturer, then you may want to watch as we briefly go into the installation procedures. Otherwise, you may fast forward through this section. Before installing DOS to your system, prepare to verify or provide information about the following: the current time and date, which country's time and date formats you want to use, which country's keyboard layout you have, whether you are installing DOS onto your hard drive or floppy disks, most likely it will be your hard drive, the directory in which you want to store the DOS files. The files will be stored automatically in the predetermined locations unless you specify otherwise. And lastly, whether or not you want the DOS shell, the DOS directory system, to appear each time you turn on your computer. Probably not if you're going to be using Windows. To install DOS onto your system, make sure it is turned off. Place disk number 1 into your A drive. Usually it's the one on top or the one on the left. And close the door. Turn your computer on, and it should look something like this. Then follow the instructions. If you have any questions about any of the procedures or options, you can request help at any time by pressing the F1 key located at the top left-hand corner of your keyboard. You may want to pause the tape as installation may take a while. Okay, your screen should look like this, with a C followed by a colon and then a greater than sign. This is a C prompt, or DOS prompt for drive C. It is the command-ready position for accessing information from your C drive. The computer is waiting for you to give it instructions on what to do next using that drive. If your screen doesn't look like this, with a C prompt, chances are your computer has been set up to start up a program automatically once it's turned on. You need to exit back to a C prompt. Most programs will either tell you on the screen how to exit or have a file menu, in which case you just highlight the word exit and press the Enter key. At a C prompt, type CD / and press Enter. I'll explain why later. Now we are at a C prompt. If it were an A prompt, it would look like this, and it would be a command-ready position for accessing information from your A drive. Same goes for your B drive, which looks like this. What you see next to the DOS prompt is a blinking line. This is called a cursor, and it indicates where the next thing you type will be positioned on the screen. The cursor may also look like a solid box, and the rate at which it blinks may also change. Let's type the word personal computer. Do you see how each time we type a letter, the cursor moves to the next position? You make a mistake when typing, just use your backspace key to back up. To change the prompt so that you can access information from another drive, simply type in the letter of the new drive, followed by a colon, and press the Enter key. There must be a diskette in that drive, otherwise you'll get an error message reading disk error, drive not ready, or abort, retry, fail. Now you can access information from the new drive. And to go back to your hard drive, just type C, colon, and press the Enter key. Each drive has a directory and subdirectories. And inside these subdirectories are files. File names are no longer than 8 characters long. They can be a mix of letters and numbers, just as long as they don't go over 8 characters long. And file names represent either full programs, basic executions, or pieces of data. Let's list what is on your C drive main directory by typing in dir, skip a space, C, colon, then press the Enter key. A list of all the files on that directory will scroll down the screen. To see this list one page at a time, type a / and a P after the directory command. Let's see what is on the floppy diskette in your A drive. If you don't have a diskette with any files on them, just use your DOS diskette number 1 and put it into your A drive. Let's first change drives by typing in A, colon, Enter. Type dir and press the Enter key. And that is what is on your floppy diskette. If you get a message reading Abort, Retry, Fail, then first make sure you have a diskette in the A drive with the door closed and press R for retry. If that doesn't work, press F for fail and retype dir and press the Enter key. Let's check out what's on another diskette by first taking out the one in the A drive, replace it with another and closing the door. Then retype dir, Enter, and that is what is on that diskette. Same goes for B. Okay, let's put the DOS diskette number 1 back into the A drive and pull up the directory one page at a time. Let's explain what each column in the directory represents. The first column represents the file name. Each file name must be unique. No 2 files can have both the same name and extension. Look at the column next to the file name. Notice that files have additional information consisting of a 3-character identifier called an extension that precedes the file name. So if you had several files called README, one could be readme.txt. One could be readme.1st. Another could be readme.second. Another could even be readme.abc. Any 3-character combinations of letters and/or numbers can be used. Do you get the idea? Next to the extension is the size of that file in bytes, and next to it is the date and time the file was stored into that subdirectory. Many programs use common extensions, such as exe, which are execution or startup files, com, which are various command files, sys, which are system files, doc, which are documents of some sort, and ltr, which are letters. For example, you could name a letter that you've written to your mother as mother.ltr. That way, when you're scrolling through the directories, you'll know just what that particular file is. Okay, let's talk about how file names are constructed and how the computer knows where to find them. The root directory is the main directory for that drive, and it contains several subdirectories. Most of the time, files are placed into these subdirectories. Picture a filing cabinet, if you will. If you had a group of employee files, you would probably want to arrange them somehow. Alphabetically, by employee number, by salary or position. You wouldn't just stick them all into a filing cabinet randomly because that wouldn't be efficient when trying to locate that file later. Well, a computer directory works the same way. Let's go back to a C prompt so I can show you what I mean. Let's do a directory command one page at a time. First, there is the root directory, which is C here. Let's pretend that this is an entire library for your hard drive. Look at the listings on the screen ending in dir with brackets around them. Those are subdirectories. Let's create a new subdirectory. Type MD for make directory, then a space, and cars. If you want to remove a directory, all you have to do is type RD, a space, then the name of the subdirectory. But we don't want to do that because we're going to be using this new directory. Okay, you already know how to maneuver between directories and subdirectories. Let's say you want to copy a file. But wait, remember earlier when I said that diskettes had to be formatted? You cannot copy a file onto an unformatted disk. It won't work. So let's format a blank disk. If you don't have one, just review this part later when you have some. First, let's make sure we're at a C prompt. Place the disk into your A or B drive, close the door, and type Format A, : or Format B, : and press Enter. when it asks you for volume label number. You can give it a name of up to 8 characters long, such as Disk 1 or Disk 2. Let's call it Disk 1. Or you can leave it blank and just press Enter for no label. Now to copy a single file from a diskette onto your hard drive, what do? It's simple. For an example of this, let's use our DOS diskette. Put your DOS diskette number 1 into your A or B drive, close the door, and do the following. Type copy space A colon backslash readme dot txt. Since we must have the file put into a particular subdirectory, we need the receive information spelled out as well. We separate the copy source information from the copy receiver information by using a space. The receiver is drive C, your hard drive, written as C colon, then followed by a backslash to separate it from the subdirectory. The subdirectory is cars, followed by a backslash to separate it from the file name. And the file name again is readme.txt. The copy command works with any combination of floppy and hard drives. You can copy from drive A to drive B to drive A, C to drive B, and so on. Just remember to have the correct information in the correct order for the receiver and the source. Perhaps you want to copy a bunch of files. If the file names all have something in common, then it is easy. For instance, if all of your file names to be copied start with the letter R, like in README, then we can change the file name to R***. That means copy everything that begins with an R, and it can have any extension. Or we can get just the README files by typing readme.star, which will copy all the README files with any extension. If we wanted to copy every file with the extension txt, no matter what the file name was, we would type star.txt. If we wanted to copy all files regardless of their file name and extension, then we would type star.star. Now to delete a file, what do? The command is del. Let's try it. Type del space C colon backslash cars backslash readme dot txt. To delete a group of files, determine what the file begins or ends with. If you know your file begins with the letter R, then type R***. That will delete everything that begins with an R and has any extension. Or we could delete just the README files by changing it to readme.star. That's saying delete all the README files with any extension. If you only want to change the name of something, then use the rename command. Type in REN space the present name of the file space then what you want it changed to and press enter, like REN space readme dot txt space readme dot second. If you are going to be working in a particular subdirectory often, it is a good idea to take advantage of the change directory command. If you want to work with the cars subdirectory every time you make a command to copy, rename, or delete a file, then it would be easier if the DOS prompt could automatically have that subdirectory appear without having to type it in every single time. To do that, type CD for change directory, space, then type cars, and press enter. It will now default automatically to that subdirectory. Change it back to the root directory without a subdirectory default by typing CD backslash and pressing enter. Confused? Hang in there, it gets easier. Are you wondering how much space you have left on that floppy or hard drive? DOS has a command for that too. It's called the check disk command. To check the C drive, make sure you're at a C prompt, then type CHKDSK, all one word, and press enter. It will give you all the information concerning available space. Now, all this information about DOS may be overwhelming. Don't let it be. You'll get the hang of it. It's quite simple once you figured it out. DOS also provides a menu system called the DOS shell. It is a well-organized menu system in a semi-graphics environment. To access it, get to a C prompt. Type DOS shell, one word, and press enter. When it comes up, it looks like this. Along the top are a series of menu selections called a menu bar. To access these, press your Alt key. Now use your left and right arrow keys to move across the menu bar. These are your menu choices, and by using your up and down arrow, you can access various display options. Use these options to customize your screen. As you can see, there are 5 sections, 5 boxes including the menu bar, and the menu bar is on top. Use the Tab key to maneuver between the boxes. The drive selection is below the menu bar. The highlighted drive shows you which drive is active. It is the C drive in this case. Below it, on the left, is the directory tree. This is an alphabetical listing of all subdirectories available on that drive or on the root directory. Next to it, on the right, are the files for the selected subdirectory. As you move your cursor up and down the directory tree, stopping on different subdirectories, you'll notice the files correspond with it. Once we determine the subdirectories of the file or files we need, we tab over and highlight the file we need. On the bottom is the main menu. Move your cursor up to the main menu and press enter. Now, highlight Command Prompt and press enter. What's this? It looks just like a regular DOS prompt. It is. Use any of the DOS commands as you normally would right here. And to go back to the DOS shell, type exit and you're back. Most programs have startup files called execution files. Remember, those are the ones with the extension EXE. So if we wanted to start up WordPerfect, version 5.1, we would first go to the WordPerfect subdirectory, which is WP51. That stands for WordPerfect version 5.1. and is the default name given during installation. Then we find the execution file, which is also WP51. Highlight and click on it twice with your left mouse button. Or we could just tab over to the menu bar, cursor down to Run, and type C:\WP51.exe. And that starts WordPerfect from the DOS shell. At a C prompt, you could type the same thing to pull it up. If you have any other questions about the DOS shell, you can press Help on the menu bar and use your arrow keys to access the various help functions. Now to exit the DOS shell completely, press Alt and move your cursor down to exit and press enter. Okay, let's clear the screen so that we have a fresh blank screen to look at. To do that, just enter CLS and press the enter key. Now there's no clutter and the DOS prompt will be at the top. And if you have to look at these monitors for a long period of time, it can give your eyes a break too.
Basically what that means is when you start your computer, it powers on and does what's called a post test, a power on self test to check the RAM and all the different components that are attached to your computer. If you have to reboot your computer, basically all that means is you can either turn it off and back on again to redo that whole process and start all over again, or most computers have a reset button that allow you to do that without having to turn your computer on and off, which saves on some of the circuitry wear and tear.
It basically means they've essentially turned the computer on and off and on again, basically. Restarts the program, starts everything from scratch.
Right. If you want to restart your computer as if you were just turning it on, it's called rebooting or resetting, and it's done several ways. But be advised that if you do reboot, everything in your RAM memory, all text, graphics, calculations, etc. will be lost for good. Everything. So don't do this unless you've copied your work onto your hard drive or floppies. Some computers have a reset button, in which case you just press it. Another way to reboot is by depressing the Control, Alt, and Delete keys simultaneously. Rebooting should be a last resort and used only when your system locks up, meaning it won't allow you to type in anything or let you continue whatever it is you're doing.
Honey?
What?
Are you through?
No, I'm not through. I'm almost through.
Okay,
I'll
well,
be
it's
there.
late.
Almost there. I'll be out. I'll have it done. Okay. Okay, I figured out DOS. Now I'm supposed to install something called Windows. Gosh, I wish I'd have purchased one of those videos that would teach me everything I ever needed to know about computers. I'd have all this stuff down. Wait, I'm going now. I'm going to be up all night. Oh, well.
Windows, okay, it's another operating system that makes everything easier to use, make it more like a Macintosh, what it is. So when you just click on, everything is icon driven, so you pretty much click on the icon and then it'll pretty much come out stuff and you can do your word processor. And easy to use, instead of typing in stuff, use the mouse.
Windows is an overlay of a disk operating system that runs on PCs that basically allows a graphical user interface. That means instead of text-based commands, you get to point and click. Most people pretty much these days are familiar with that. You just have an icon and basically point at it with a pointing device and you can start your program or move things around the desktop.
Let's talk about Windows. Microsoft Windows is today's computer industry standard for running popular software in a graphic menus environment. Once again, if you haven't installed Windows onto your PC, or if it wasn't automatically installed by the manufacturer, then you may want to watch as we briefly go into the installation procedures. Otherwise, you may fast forward through this section. To install Windows, place the Windows diskette number 1 into the A drive, close the door. Then type Setup and press Enter. Just choose the Express Setup when it asks you to and follow the rest of the instructions from there. It's real easy. You can pause the tape again if you like. Okay, and this is Microsoft Windows. To get to Windows from a C prompt, type CD space Windows to get to a Windows directory. Then type WIN. Then you should get this screen. As you can see, once Windows boots up, the screen has several menu boxes. Your screen may look different than mine. If so, follow these instructions. Press and hold down your Alt key, then depress your Tab key until it says Program Manager. Now to close any windows that are open, press the Alt key and hyphen key at the same time and type a C. Continue to do this until all windows are closed. Now move your pointer to Windows, click on it, then click on Arrange Icons. Now our screen should look similar. Let's explain what a window is. Your entire screen is called the desktop. Windows can be placed anywhere on top of this desktop and be opened or closed, stacked on top of one another, and be manipulated by your mouse or keyboard. To open a menu box, simply move your pointer to a menu box and click your left mouse button twice, quickly. As you can see, once you open one of these menu boxes, there are several pictures with titles underneath them. These are icons. Icons are symbols which represent programs or Windows functions on your hard drive that you can run. For instance, this symbol here represents Windows Paint, a draw and paint program. And this one represents Windows Write, a simple word processing program with limited capabilities. If you install other software that uses Windows, they too will have their own unique icon. To access a program, you simply move your pointer to the icon and click twice. You'll see a figure that looks like an hourglass. That means it's loading the program and it will be a few seconds. And voila! You've opened the program. Now let's exit back to the main Windows menu by moving the pointer to File. It's at the left-hand side of your screen. Click once on File, and then click once again on Exit. This is also how you would exit out of any window or software running through Windows. Now we're back to the Program Manager, which is the main Windows screen. Remember that. As you can see, the icons are separated into different windows labeled Main, Accessories, Games, Startup, and Applications. To make any window larger, just move your pointer to this arrow and click once. To close a window, simply move your pointer to this arrow and click once. To adjust the size of each window, move your pointer to any edge and adjust to your preference. Notice that when you get to the edge of a window, your pointer becomes a double-edged arrow. This allows you to make the necessary adjustments to that window. To move any window, click on this box and then on Move. Notice your pointer has become a four-edged arrow. Move your window in any direction with your mouse or arrow keys and press Enter to drop it. You can move any icon to any other window by clicking onto that icon while holding down the button on your mouse, dragging it to the desired window. You can open several windows at once, adjust their size, and keep them open if you like. Let's open Games and Accessories. Now they're both open. Click back and forth to the one you need. The active window's border will usually be a different color than all the other windows, which are called the non-active windows. Notice that all windows have a menu bar with specific options unique to that window. For instance, the Program Manager's menu bar reads File, Options, Window, and Help. Some windows may have more icons than are shown. These will have a scroll bar on them, in which case you just move your pointer to either the up or down arrow on the right side and click your left mouse button to scroll up and down. To scroll quickly, just hold the button down. The hidden icons will scroll into view. Or you can simply maximize your window to its full size so that you can see all the icons inside by clicking on the arrow in the upper right-hand corner. Your desktop can quickly get cluttered with windows and you may forget which ones are underneath. Click on Window in the Program Manager and then on Cascade. Now we're organized. Try using Tile instead. Now all the windows are side by side. You can then manipulate their size to your preference. And to close a window, click on the box in the upper left-hand corner and then on Close. Isn't this fun? Now, there are other cosmetic changes that you can do to your Windows environment, including color and fonts. Fonts are just another name for character styles. They come in many attributes and sizes, and you can make different font selections or any other aspect of your Windows environment by first clicking onto the Control Panel icon. And by clicking onto Color, you can make changes to color default, changes to your background, foreground, text, etc. By clicking onto Mouse, you can make changes to your mouse speed and pointer size. By clicking onto Date and Time, you can make changes to your PC's default date and time. It will stay current even after you shut your system off. There's no need to click on International unless you're converting to a whole other country's PC configuration. Desktop allows you to make changes to your Windows wallpaper, the designs outside of your Program Manager, as well as the spacing between icons and cursor speed, and the color of each of your window parts. It also allows you to set up a screensaver at a preferred delay time. Windows gives you a few to choose from, and others can be bought, but you don't necessarily have to have a screensaver. It just makes your monitor last a little longer. As for ports, network, printers, drivers, and sound, those are reserved for new installations and configuration changes. Let's try changing the color default, okay? From the Program Manager, that's the main Windows screen including all the windows, not to be confused with the main menu. Click once on Colors, then once again on Color Palette. To the right pops up the different colors available for each window selection. To the left are the selections to have changes made to them. When I click on this part, Background, I can now go over to my color palette and test out the different colors. The same goes with any of the other section, including text, menu bars, etc. Once you have constructed a color sequence, you can name it by clicking on Color Scheme and typing in a name. Then click on OK and see what it looks like. It's all right. Now let's say you want to find a file without having to exit Windows to DOS. In the Program Manager, there is an icon called File Manager. How clever. click on it twice. And this is what it looks like. Press the arrow to make this window bigger. At the top on the left, you see some figures which look like floppy disk drives. Well, that's what they represent. Your A and B floppy drives, and your C drive, your hard drive. Clicking on either of these will give you the listing of files for that particular drive. Now below these is a tree diagram representing the various subdirectories. This works a lot like the DOS shell. And to the right of that are the files for those directories. Look what happens when I click on a particular subdirectory. You see there are different files listed on the right. And when we click on other subdirectories, their respective files also show up on the right. Now to copy a file from your hard drive, simply click on the directory where the file is located. Move your pointer to the file to be copied, hold down the left button on your mouse, and drag that file to the drive which you want it copied to. Oh, and make sure there's a diskette in the floppy drive, or you'll just get a loud sound from your computer. To copy a bunch of files, do the same thing, only this time when you go to click on the files, find the first file in the series, click on it once, hold your Shift button down on your keyboard as you click on the last file in the series, and while also holding the left button on your mouse, drag these files into the drive which the files will be copied to. Got it? I know, clear as mud. Okay, once again, slowly. Do the same thing, only this time when you go to click on the files, find the first file in the series, click on it once, hold your Shift button down on your keyboard as you click on the last file in the series, and while also holding the left button on your mouse, drag these files to the drive which the files will be copied to. Now if your files aren't in a row, in other words, if they're spread out all over, then you'll have to copy them using the menu bar at the top. Click once on File and once on Copy. Now, click on the top box and type in information that is common to all the files being copied. Use the same rules you would for a DOS command. If you want to delete a file, click on the file to be deleted and press your Delete button. If you want to search for a file, click once on File and once on Search. Then type in the file name and extension if it has one. Let's find one of those README files. If you deleted them, then you'll have to recopy them in order to try out this exercise. Click on File, then on Search, and type readme.txt. There it is. Okay, if we want to create a new subdirectory, all we have to do is click once on File, then on Create Directory, and type in the name of the new subdirectory. Let's make a new subdirectory called Dogs. Click on File, then on Create Directory, and type DOGS. Now we have a new subdirectory called Dogs. We can now move files into and out of this new subdirectory called Dogs. If you want to delete a subdirectory, click on it and press Delete. It won't allow you to delete a subdirectory if there are still files in it. So you'll have to delete all the files first. Inside the Program Manager is an icon for DOS. You can reach DOS through Windows and do basic DOS functions. Just click on it twice and it takes you straight to a DOS prompt. To exit back to Windows, type Exit. When loading new software onto your system, first determine whether it is DOS-based or Windows-based software. If it is DOS-based, then you must be out of Windows before you install it. Don't click onto the DOS icon in Windows and try to install software there. Get to a DOS prompt by exiting Windows. To exit normally out of Windows, click on File, then on Exit. And type the word Install, then press Enter. Just follow the instructions from there. To get to Windows from a C prompt, type CD space Windows to get to a Windows directory. Then type WIN. At the Program Manager, click on File, then on Run, type the word Install on the command line, and press Enter. To print or save a document in any Windows-based software, just click on File, then on Print or Save. Print drivers, video and sound drivers allow a system to recognize the appropriate hardware. If you were connecting a new printer, sound card, or video card, then you would find the Windows driver in the control panel. For printers, you would click on Printers and scroll through the selections, click on the one you need, and click on OK. For sound or video cards, click on the one that says Drivers and do the same thing. If none of the selections match your new hardware, then you should read through the literature that came with it and see if there is another driver that can be substituted. If you want to change any icon in Windows to another picture, first click on the icon once, then click on File, then Properties, then on Icon, and scroll through the selections to the desired one. To save the way your Windows screen looks and have it look that way every time it comes up, click on Options at the top and then Save on Exit. Well, we certainly hope you found this video informative. You may want to watch it several times so that you can become a more proficient PC user. Don't be discouraged if your PC doesn't do what you think it should be doing. Chances are it's something you did wrong and not the computer. No matter how much we want to believe that they like to do their own thing sometimes, computers can't think. Computers are the wave of the future, and training tomorrow's users is more necessary today than ever before. If you've enjoyed this video, we want to know. Send any comments or suggestions to the address inside. Enjoy.
Saturday morning, this is the station bringing you 24 hours of the hottest music videos. Nothing but the hits. This week's #1 single for the 8th week in a row. Good enough by
Yes, yes, I did it. It's working. I did it. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.
Did you get it, Daddy? Did you get it?
Yes, dear. Daddy did it. Daddy got it.
Did it, honey?
Look at this.
You finished.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Show us,
Let me show you all the wonderful things we can do on our personal computer. Now, that is a C prompt. Okay?